Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's your brother Asif Hussein here, and I'm doing a drive time vlog. And it has been some time since I've done a drive time vlog. It's been, I don't know how many weeks. It seems like for ages, even though it might have been only a few days ago. But anyway, I'm here, inshallah. Hope you're all well. It's been an interesting couple of weeks that have passed by. Just trying to get my new routine in line, and it is starting to fit in very well at home, working from home, doing a lot of things at home, being around the wife and kids all day long, every day, all day. I have to take a break once in a while, of course, you can appreciate that. Alhamdulillah, everything's been good. Ramadan, of course, is on the doorstep, just around the corner for us. Are you prepared? Are you ready? Are you in that frame of mind? Have you sort of like been mentally prepared? Are you starting to do what's required from you to get yourself to that stage where you need to be in terms of your worshipping Allah? Yeah, it's been an interesting kind of journey so far. I mean, I don't know how it's been for everybody else, but I've got to say things have been quite interesting for me in terms of how myself personally are getting through this situation. I can't have any qualms, any complaints about it, because it has been beneficial for me. It's allowed me a lot of time to really spend in isolation, in contemplation, doing a lot of different things, catching up with stuff that I wanted to do, meeting friends that I haven't seen, even though we are socially distancing ourselves, but we still have the opportunity to catch up with people to see how they're doing. So yeah, it's been an interesting kind of ride so far. So what do I want to talk about today? What is the key subject matter, or the key themes that I want to address this evening? It's about nearly 7 o'clock now, and I'm heading home from having spent some time with a very good friend of mine that I haven't seen for some time. We go back a very long way. We go back to our days when we were in secondary school, which those days was your upper schools. It wasn't your primary and secondary school. It was your first, middle, and it was your upper school. And I met this guy probably because he was living in the area that I was in, and I happened to go to the same school, and we got on really well. And over the years, we spent a lot of time together, and it's nice to catch up to brothers like that after so many years. They obviously moved on, settled down, wife, family, kids, etc., etc. So it's good to touch base with people like that, find out how they're doing, having a just general chat about life, and finding out how things are with them. I think, one of the things in the situation, it's important to keep in touch with friends, family, and just ask about people, ask about how they're keeping, how they're doing. Because sometimes isolation can make you look inwardly, or quite often. So sometimes it's good to, take into account other people that are in your lives. It's a time, really, more than anything, to get in touch with people, reach out to people, and see how they're doing. You never know what a situation of another brother is until you make contact with them, you engage with them to find out how they're getting along. You don't know a conversation, how it can impact them and impact you. So it's always useful and always important to catch out and reach out. I know people are kind of very conscious about social distancing and about socially distancing themselves, but I think you need to use this time in a positive way, reaching out to people, meeting people, seeing people. We are working from home a lot of times, so it is allowing us to give us that flexibility to meet up with people that you may not have seen for some time. Now Ramadan's here, let's not become completely, insolent and isolated, that we don't really kind of go out and speak to people. You don't know, your conversation, your interaction with somebody could lift somebody's spirits. They could have a knock-on effect which could lift your spirits as well. So it's important that we maintain human interaction with those people around us and share our experiences with people. That's what it's all about. So yeah, that was quite nice to see him and have a bit of a chin wag with him about old times and current times. And different friends have different personalities, which display different characteristics. And each friend has their own unique kind of way of looking at life. And over the years, you might agree, you might disagree, you might argue about certain things, but I think you come to a point where you realize, what, we're all different. We have all our quirky little personalities, and sometimes it's good to recognize that. And that could be the reason why you have such a good relationship with somebody, or why you find this person interesting, because of the particular characteristic or particular kind of viewpoint they have towards things. And it's always good to have that different perspective. Sometimes you're set in your ways, you do your own thing. That's because you're living your own life, and you're a fully mature adult. But it's nice sometimes just to hear things from a different perspective and share your experiences with others. So that's always a good thing to have in your life. You don't always have to see things from a perspective all the time without looking at others as well. I know where I stand on things, but it's always good to hear what other people have to say, whether you take that too seriously or not. Not really the point of the discussion. So yeah, I'm driving off home now. I don't really know what else to talk about. I mean, everybody is talking about, I don't know, everyone's talking about, is it real, is it not real, is it a conspiracy, is it this, is it that? I don't really kind of delve too much into these things, because you're going into uncharted territory, and sometimes personally it's unhealthy if you start talking about ambiguous, vague topics that don't have any substance. Whether they do, whether they don't, does it really matter? The point of today is that we're here, we have a position and perspective, and we just need to kind of get through this phase, and life goes on. And I'm possibly running out of things to talk about. Maybe that's why. But on a positive note, alhamdulillah, my training, my eating, my general kind of fitness regime is good. I've been keeping on top of things. I'm starting to get my eating right. I think over the coming weeks in Ramadan, my focus will increase in terms of my diet, my fitness regime will kind of increase as well in terms of focus, because being in the state of Ramadan, in fasting state, it allows me to not be distracted by anything. It gives me more focus, I find, which enhances my focus on many other aspects of my life. And when I look at, be it spiritual or my physical training, I am more kind of zoned in with a far greater kind of focus. So that's a good thing for me. I always get my best results in this time, because I know time is critical, and whilst I'm not having to think about my meals, my this, my that, I can really focus on doing what needs to be done, and that's pretty important for me. Like I says, it's like the body becomes super enhanced. That's my personal experience. I don't allow the fatigue and tiredness and the laziness really kind of penetrate my mind. Given the fact that you are physically weaker and tired, I use it as motivation for me. I use it as motivation to say, this is the reality of how you're feeling and what you're thinking, but you need to overcome that, and you need to not succumb to it, but you need to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to find the word that sort of sits right with it. But you want to overcome or combat or supersede the way you are feeling and thinking at that time. And I believe if you can do that, you can conquer anything. You can pretty much overcome anything, because it's not something that is beyond us. I think once you tap into that kind of resource that you have, you'll be amazed at how much energy you can find and what capacity and scope you have. Of course, you're working outside as a particular parameter, so your scope does become redefined, because now you're functioning in uncharted territory. Your body is not used to this state, but your mind has become far superior. Your mind has built greater resilience. So to me, this month is critical in many ways for me to really stretch and unleash my potential. That's how I see it. I don't see it as a month to restrain, even though, yeah, on many fronts you're restraining yourself, in terms of what you want, what your desires are asking of you or telling you. You're restraining yourself in focusing in getting closer to Allah. But in terms of other aspects of your life, relationships, whatever it be, your fitness goals, your training goals, even if it's your professional goals, you can focus and not let distractions get the better of you, because your body now is functioning at a different level, which, if you go to the scientific fact, you find that your brain becomes enhanced. It's like an enhanced machine. It's not being distracted or diverted by anything, but rather it's being allowed to just develop in its pure form. And that purity, I experience that purity of thought, purity of action, because when you're running on empty, your mind has a far greater capacity, and that's what I find. And if your mind can achieve or can perceive something, your body can achieve it, and that's what I truly believe. If you push yourself and you believe you can do it mentally, inshallah, physically, I don't see you setting any boundaries. Of course, each individual has their own capabilities, and you are the one to best measure that. I can't speak for anybody else. I speak for myself, and I know my limitations are, and I will work within those limitations. But you'd be surprised at what your body can achieve. So don't set too many restrictions for yourself. Inshallah, I will end it there on a positive note for you. So this was your drive time vlog with your brother Asif Hussain, and I hope to be running a series alongside the Ramadan to enhance our focus and make the most of that time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.